So Nintendo's last Direct was a little bit vague as to just what we'll be playing on the Switch, at least regarding the big Nintendo games for 2020. And of course, with the circumstances of what's going on in the world right now, it's a little hard to be sure of whether or not Nintendo's even going to get a chance to give us the games they had planned for this year. So because of that, it's kind of just fun to speculate and just talk about a bunch of great Nintendo games I would like for 2020 and beyond. Yo, what's going on, guys? My name is Ryan Ramakrishnan. Welcome to the channel. I hope you're all doing well out there. If you guys are new around here, I had made a video not too long ago, right before the last Direct in March, kind of covering a bunch of Nintendo Switch games I would like to see, whether it would be releasing this year or next year and so forth. And it was sort of a blend of some Mario and Zelda in there, a couple of remasters or ports of classics that we all want to replay or play for the first time, and a couple of new takes on old popular franchises. So if you guys haven't seen that video, you'll see it in a link in the description below. After you've seen that video, come right back because we're gonna have a good time talking about a bunch of Nintendo games that I would like to see in 2020 and beyond. Part 2.
1080.
Alright, so let's start off with something a little different and possibly forgotten. 1080 Snowboarding, Excitebike, and Waverace. These are 3 IP that have been dormant for quite some time now. Now, I personally can't really speak for nostalgia for them, but I do, however, know that there are some pretty large fan bases out there. And I feel like it would be really cool for Nintendo to give Switch owners and gamers new and old alike a chance to play some of these really cool action sports titles. A remaster of each of these titles, or a collection of them, would be cool and possibly more realistic. Of course, ideally though, we'd be getting proper sequels. I'd love to see a brand new entry in each of these IP. Imagine how much fun it would be to have modern takes on Waverace in 1080, bringing people back to their good old days on the Nintendo 64, and maybe Nintendo could revolutionize Excitebike, turning it to be even better than Ubisoft's Trials once were. I'm sure that these games have a lot of people clamoring for them, and hopefully it can happen one day, at the very least just for one of these franchises. Kid Icarus is one of Nintendo's most forgotten franchises. This IP has such little under its belt, yet Pit, the main protagonist, is a true household name, regardless of all that, thanks to Super Smash Bros. Did you know that the latest entry in the series, Kid Icarus Uprising, was developed by the same team behind Smash? Well, yeah, and it was kind of an awesome game on the 3DS almost a decade ago now. Sure, it was a little weird playing it thanks to the gameplay style of the 3DS, and, you know, it definitely wasn't the most comfortable, but it worked enough and it was a cool game. And I think that it got me interested in what Kid Icarus could be. I feel like this franchise could not only survive in a new game on the Switch, but thrive. This IP, in my opinion, has a lot of potential that just hasn't been given into yet. Nintendo needs to look at these characters, gameplay concepts, and the world building of their limited franchise of Kid Icarus and make something great out of it. So I could easily see it being an awesome modern action adventure game. Combat and puzzle design could easily take cues from many of today's greats in those departments respectively, and there is clearly already a fascinating storyline and world to expand upon. Kid Icarus could be the next big thing. The spin-off of Pokemon that I really loved was Pokemon Ranger. I played the hell out of both Shadows of Almia and Guardian Signs on my DS. Those 2 games were just such a joy for me. I really thought the concept of being a ranger was cool, and using the touchscreen to catch Pokemon in such an unconventional manner, and the boss fights and all, it really worked for me. I had a good time with it. It's a really unique way to play this franchise, and I think that, you know, the truth is it would be a little hard to bring to the Switch. Nevertheless, I can still only dream of this maybe returning one day. I don't really know that it ever will, but I'm sure some way, somehow, it could work. Even if the touchscreen thing isn't used, perhaps there could be a more conventional manner of actual gameplay, and it could probably work somehow, some way. Back in the day, Pokemon Stadium and Coliseum were really awesome. People love those games. They're bringing back fond memories for you right now, aren't they? So I didn't really grow up playing those, but I did dabble in Battle Revolution on the Wii. Sure, this game was not the best, but I really thought it was super cool, just being a Pokemon fan. So I think it's really high time to return to this formula of all of these games. These 3D spin-off Pokemon games are kind of awesome. They really took Pokemon battles, turning them into something so much more action-packed, at least how it looks. And granted, Pokken Tournament exists, though I don't run a fighting game. I'm talking about another Pokemon game like these icons of the past. And I feel like a proper remake of the classics, namely Coliseum probably, would be super welcoming. I'd be all for it. But a brand new title like those with a fresh new story and characters and whatnot, awesome HD battles, and an interesting anime-like story with a lot of excitement, it would be really awesome. Probably more ideal than just a remake. Alright, now let's talk about the real Pokemon game that I want. This is, in fact, my favorite of the franchise. Nostalgia, 100% a reason for it. But Pokemon Diamond version, this was my favorite game. It was my entry into the world of Pokemon, a world that I continue to adore to this day. And I actually do think pretty highly of Gen 4 and the Sinnoh region and a lot of the evolutions and stuff in there. I just really loved it. I've played it multiple times. Of course, Platinum is even better. But you know, objectively, the games are a little slow and some things didn't age as well. But obviously a remake is like totally in the works right now. It's just a matter of when. Now, I don't think that we're gonna get another Gen 8 game this year. Sword and Shield have DLC coming out, and I'm really not sure that we need a new Pokemon title for 2020. I'd be happy with seeing Diamond and Pearl remake in 2021. I think that'd be really awesome. I'm super excited for that when it does happen, and it's gonna be a game that I've been looking forward to for quite some time. While Mario's outings on the tennis courts and racetracks have certainly seen a lot of action lately, other sports titles cannot say the same. Do you remember Mario Strikers Charged? Because I sure do. That was one of my favorite games. I don't care so much to play FIFA or PES, but when the most popular sport in the world is played in this ridiculous manner that Nintendo implemented with Mario Strikers, you can count me in. I feel like this series desperately needs to return. I have such fond memories of just playing this exciting game with my friends. Mario Strikers was really just a hype game. It made Mario and his friends look so badass, and it made me like a sports game, which is rare. So another Mario sports title that I desperately want to see a return to is Sluggers. I think that I want this even more than Strikers. A year after Mario played soccer on the Wii, his allies and enemies alike took to America's pastime in what easily went down as one of my childhood defining games on the Wii. I fondly remember going through the adventure mode of Mario Super Sluggers. I remember playing so many local games with my brother and my friends. I enjoyed this game so very much. I thought that Mario Super Sluggers was just Mario sports at its pinnacle. At least it felt that way for me. I'd be so excited to see Nintendo return to the Sluggers games on the Switch, giving it a new vast roster, improvements in the mechanics, a fun story mode with puzzles and challenges, and just overall a lot of fun baseball to be had with Mario and friends. Alright, so the last game or games that I'm going to be discussing is a little different. Now, we're talking about Punch-Out. I would love to see a brand new game in this franchise, albeit one that has a little more effort put into a fleshed out gameplay system, single player modes, progression, and so forth. But I also have this feeling that it just won't be happening. Not necessarily because of those details, but simply because Nintendo seems to kind of have another fighting game that unintentionally dethroned Punch-Out. ARMS is a thing, and we're gonna get some support for that franchise in Super Smash Bros., and an ARMS sequel is inevitable. I think that ARMS is a franchise that needs to grow because the first one came and went. Some people loved it, some people never heard of it. I can't say I've played it, but I think it looks cool, so I'm gonna probably give it a chance, once it gets a sequel, if it's fleshed out. I want a campaign with a story. I want really a game that makes me feel like I have endless content, not unlike some of today's best fighters, like those from NetherRealm, obviously Super Smash Bros. So if ARMS 2 has enough, making it a full package, maybe I'll be in. But here's where I just want to go a little crazy. What if Nintendo brought Punch-Out into the fray? I I think that this can go one of two ways. I'd be all for ARMS 2 and a new Punch-Out title existing simultaneously. But you know what? What if ARMS and Punch-Out had a crossover? And not just like a little event, but what if that was like the main draw of this next big game? What if we got iconic figures from the Punch-Out titles facing toe-to-toe with these crazy new fun characters from ARMS? I think that if enough effort really went into some deep fighting gameplay systems and enough content included for the long run, this nice blend of two really unique IPs in the fighting game genre could really work, kind of benefiting both of them in their own right, and something truly special could be born. But hey, what do you guys think? That is my list. Those are just a handful of Nintendo games that I'd like to see a return to, whether it be remasters, remakes, or proper sequels, maybe some crossovers, and anything in between. So be sure to share with me, guys, in the comments below all your thoughts on this. What do you want from Nintendo for the Switch's future? That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you had a good time here. I hope you have a fantastic day, staying safe and healthy always. Thank you again for watching, guys. I'll see you all in the next video.